This morning at 8 on Fox 14.
You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, an organization helped Pittsburgh residents understand what it would be like to live in poverty.
Plus, a Parsons business is helping area kids become a little more creative.
And we've got ourselves a beautiful but cold start to the day. Some clouds rolling in, maybe even a stray shower or two. Take a look at that forecast, get you out the door. Coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy.
I'm Chris Warner, just after 7 a.m. on this Monday morning. And we talked about this before, the Mamas and Papas sang a song about Mondays.
Yes.
You can't trust them.
You just can't, Chris.
You really can't. You didn't get a good night's rest, which CBS Morning's doing a story on that, but this is actually more interesting. We'll help you wake up here on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. But
absolutely.
It's difficult sometimes,
especially when it's freezing.
Yeah, it's
very difficult.
Because we don't want the building to catch fire.
Because we broadcast from a meat locker. It is below freezing in this studio right now.
It's because of all the lights and fancy, expensive things.
We have to keep them
cold.
Whew, it is cold.
Or so I'm told.
Well, 12% of Kansans are currently experiencing poverty, and one organization in Pittsburgh is hoping to help people understand what it's like for those people.
KOAM's Samantha Walker has more.
As poverty rates across America continue to rise, people are trying to better understand what struggling families are experiencing. The Cost of Poverty experience is an immersive way to do just that.
So it gives attendees the opportunity to live a month's time in poverty and go through all the stress that we maybe don't realize happens when people live in poverty.
Care Portal and the Southeast Kansas chapter of Safe Families for Children are partnering to offer this experience for the community in Pittsburgh. Each attendee represents a real person who has or is currently experiencing poverty in the United States.
It's awful. No, it's really good, but it's really an eye-opener. It really is. But there's so many facets of it. If you have children, if you're employed, if you're trying to navigate the legal system, all those impact each other a lot, and it's been really eye-opening.
Participants struggle to pay mortgages, buy groceries, find jobs or daycare, and struggle to find transportation. And for parents participating, the experience hits home.
It's no wonder people find themselves in challenging situations when they're doing as much as they can for their child.
Those in the simulation say they plan to use what they learn to help others.
I'm going to reach out and see who I can help in the community. I would love to help somebody try to navigate through where to go and what to do in the process.
In Pittsburgh, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
The simulation was brought to Pittsburgh thanks to a grant from Evergy. To learn more about the Cost of Poverty experience, visit our website at KOAMnewsnow.com.
There's a lot of folks, unfortunately, that have lived in poverty or are living in poverty. And I went through a dark phase in my life as well. I mean, thankfully, I had a sister. I was able to sleep on her couch.
Yeah.
But it's tough. Until you experience it, you don't really realize what it's like.
Absolutely.
I know we've got ourselves a pretty cold start to the day out there, but it's not going to be too bad once things start to warm up. Let's take a quick look outside from our camera on top of the Cornell Complex in downtown Joplin. Beautiful sunrise, clear skies across the area, and we're getting the same nice view from the MoDOT camera 32nd and Range Line. Now, of course, it's looking back to the west, so the coloring is a little different, but as you can see, the skies are clear, and they are clear on the Skywatch Storm Tracker, but right on our back door, just outside of Greenwood, Elk, and Chautauqua counties, here comes some clouds. And back behind that, even some wintry precipitation now, but as temperatures warm them up, that'll of course transfer over to rain. And that could bring a few isolated to widely scattered showers across the area today as we head into the afternoon. I think most of us will be dry, but a few stray showers possible. We're in the upper 20s and low 30s across the area. We've got that odd temperature anomaly, so add 10 degrees to those temperatures down there. But otherwise, it's cold, but seasonably really cold. Clouds increasing, partly cloudy, shower chances for some of us into the afternoon, and highs today into the mid to upper 50s out there, and then we'll start to clear out later this evening and overnight. We have another round of thunderstorms and showers as we head into Wednesday and Thursday. We'll talk about all that in the full forecast here in just a few more minutes. Caitlin?
Thanks, Chris. Pittsburgh police arrested a man who they say was engaging in a lewd sexual act near a daycare. It happened on Thursday around 3:30 p.m. Authorities say 18-year-old Walter Lalimo was seen in the act by a daycare on East 13th Street. After a short chase, Lalimo was arrested. He is currently held without bond. As part of Freeman's ongoing coverage of Heart Health Month, two Freeman cardiologists, Dr. Yeguyan Bang and Dr. Ryan Longnecker, and a Freeman patient, Dolores Field, gathered in the Hearts Library on Friday to share the story of Dolores' unique procedure. Dolores underwent a valve-in, valve transcatheter mitral valve replacement, the first time the procedure has ever been done in Joplin.
He's my lifesaver.
Oh.
He gave me my life back, my quality of life back.
I'm grateful for the partnership I have with Dr. Longnecker so that I can trust my patients in his hands and vice versa so that we can take best care of our community.
Dr. Bang says there are a small number of hospitals in the U.S. who offer this specific procedure, and Freeman Health is now one of them. A local store is inviting kids to get a little more creative. Olson's Ace Hardware in Parsons hosted a kids hour for the public. Each month has a different theme that helps teach kids a different skill. Yesterday, participants were invited to come and create a Valentine's monster craft. Organizers say it is a great way to help support kids.
They're important. These kids are very important. Their education is important. To see them be excited about something is fun because not all kids have a great home life. Not all kids have the grandmas that live close.
The next Kids Hour will be hosted in March. Organizers say kids can plan to learn about plants and gardening. Student musicians at Pittsburgh State yesterday performed outside their wind ensemble at the Bicknell Family Center for the Arts. The concert, Outside, is compiled of different pieces rooted outside of the classical tradition and incorporates hip-hop, jazz, and folk music. The performance was free to the public and began at 3 yesterday afternoon. Up next, Lori Holton is with us sharing her recipe for a good old-fashioned monster cookie.
It's Christy with Miss Daisy's Impressive Savings. Visit us today and let us help you create a beautiful home.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, now 7:09 on this Monday morning, and taking a live look from our camera on the Cornell Complex in downtown Joplin. A beautiful start to the day. No clouds, great sunrise. It's cold, but it looks wonderful out there. Same from the MoDOT camera, 32nd in range line, looking back to the west. You can see the sun shining on the buildings, and you can still see those clear skies out there as well. However, clouds will increase as we go through the morning, and they won't be nearly as clear as they are now. Again, a weird anomaly with our computer system. I don't know what it is, but ignore that 35, okay? That's not, the temperature isn't going to suddenly be 20 degrees colder in Joplin than everyone else. But as we head into the afternoon, showers will be possible. So we'll go with those partly cloudy skies, and maybe for some of us, briefly mostly cloudy. And the future track, I want to emphasize on this, this is showing where the showers could be. Because these are going to be isolated to widely scattered, what the future track does in those situations is it paints an area in which those showers are more likely to occur, but it doesn't mean we're going to have this big batch of rain rolling through the area. And again, they'll be isolated to widely scattered, but some of us may get a brief rain shower or two. As we head into the late afternoon and evening, the clouds and the showers clear on out of here, leaving us clear and chilly for tonight. Here comes the sun. From our camera, 7th and range line, looking great again from that location as well. 31, feels like 23. So again, it's cold out there for sure. South breeze at 9, but the cold will not last. The other temperature anomaly, for those who may have missed it earlier, you need to add 10 degrees roughly to the temperatures in Anderson, Jay, Grove, and Miami. Still haven't figured out what causes that, but you can see the color is right. It's just the data is wrong. We're in the upper 20s, low 30s across the area, and we will eventually begin to warm. Clouds increase, upper 40s by 11 a.m., and we'll have those southwest winds occasionally gusting upwards of 20. So again, partly to mostly cloudy today across the area. A few isolated showers, mid-upper 50s. Skies clearing as we head through the evening and overnight, and we fall back into the mid to upper 30s. And then I want to take a moment and touch on Wednesday into Thursday. Now, right now, we're running on this future track, and this is the more likely scenario, that very late Wednesday into very early Thursday morning, we'll get some showers or some thunderstorms that will develop, and a couple of these could be on the strong side. Nothing wild, nothing crazy, but some stronger storms will be possible. And then we'll see more widespread showers and a few isolated thunderstorms as we head through the morning hours and into the first half of our Thursday before this activity does begin to clear out. And as such, though, still a couple of days out, but we do have this low-end risk that's highlighted for a good chunk of the area for that potential for some stronger storms. And right now, small hail is the primary concern with any storms that do get a little stronger. 67 tomorrow, mostly clear skies. Clouds, of course, increasing Wednesday. We're going to have March-like weather all the way into next week. Temperatures in the 60s. A great weekend ahead of us. 70s Monday and Tuesday next week, and maybe some showers next Tuesday. Let's check your forecast. We're back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
From the moment you call until you walk through our...
Welcome back. Now Lori has been showing us her recipe for good old-fashioned monster cookies. Last segment we had the butter, the sugar, and the eggs all mixed in.
Yes.
Now what's next, Lori?
All right, so we've creamed together all of our wet ingredients with those sugars, and remember we used the white and the brown sugar, so this is going to be a really nice chewy cookie. We've also whisked together in our other bowl flour, cream of tartar, baking soda, and a little bit of salt. And the cream of tartar is the one ingredient that's a little bit unusual, but you'll find it anytime you want a really soft cookie. And what that does is it keeps that sugar from crystallizing. So that's when you get a crunchy cookie. You add that cream of tartar, doesn't happen.
Science.
You get, it's crazy, you know?
Who would thought?
So we're gonna just finish whipping together our wet ingredients here. Make sure they're really good and creamy. And again, this is kind of almost looks like cake batter at this point. It's really soft. It's very, very thin. So that's why at this point we are going to start adding to it those wet ingredients or those dry ingredients a little bit at a time.
Because we did also add the oil too. I forgot to.
We did. We added an entire cup of oil, a couple eggs, and again, that whole recipe is going to be on our KOAM News Now app, so you don't have to worry about getting that written down. But we're going to add this a little bit at a time and just slowly incorporate all of that dry ingredients together. And it's still not going to be a really dense batter. So it's nice. It's easy to work with. You don't have to get out the big mixer or anything like that. You can do this part by hand.
So it's a good amount of flour too.
It's a lot of flour. It's 3.5 cups of flour.
Yeah,
so
it's way more than
it's way more, but this is a big recipe, so it's going to make a lot. And that's why I think this has become such a popular recipe, because this is that time of year when all of the school carnivals are starting to come about, those bake sales, all the spring fundraisers for the kids stuff. And this is a great recipe. You can make up a bunch. They freeze really well, so you can do these up ahead of time when you have a minute on the weekend. But also not a lot of out of the ordinary ingredients. So when the kids hit you with that Sunday night, oh my gosh, I've got to have something at school tomorrow, you've probably got pretty much everything you need in the cabinets to, you know, round these up and get them going and have them ready to go for the next day. Absolutely. So once we've done about 3 rounds of those dry ingredients and getting them fully incorporated, the last step that we're going to have is to add all of our good stuff to it. So this is a pretty plain old boring bit of dough right here at this point. And what we're going to add to it will be all of our fun stuff. And so what I've got here is a mixture of Rice Krispies, coconuts, chocolate chips, and oats, just plain old oatmeal. So all kinds of good stuff. And you can really customize that. A lot of people like to add mini M&Ms. You can add different flavors of chocolate chips.
You have in your cupboard.
Whatever you got, throw it in there. And we'll do that when we come back.
All right, stay tuned. We'll be right back with the final episode of this.
This is your free and home estimate. If you want the best for less, call Windows for Less.
All right, we're just about done with these good old-fashioned monster cookies. Now,
Yes.
Lori, what do we have left to do?
Okay, so all we've got to do really at this point is mix in the last of our good stuff and then bake these off. So I've got all of those drying wet ingredients mixed together. So I just want to show you guys, it's still like a nice soft dough. It's not difficult for me to mix that last of that in by hand. So all of my other goodies, I'm just going to dump in here.
You got coconut, chocolate chips,
oatmeal,
and
Rice Krispies.
So
it's going to give you a nice little flavor crunch in there. The chocolate chips are good. Peanut butter chips are awesome in this.
Love that.
Also mini M&Ms. You can really just kind of throw in there the kitchen sink, whatever you've got on hand, whatever you guys like. So you want to get that folded in really well. Make sure you don't have any big clumps of that stuff left over in any pockets. And then what I want to show you is we've got a couple different sizes of our cookies here. So if you're doing for more little kids, I used my smaller cookie scoop. And if you do those, they're only going to bake about 8 or 9 minutes in that 350-degree oven. But if you really want to make these a monster, you want to go with the big scoop.
All right.
And that guy is going to go on here, and you want to make sure you still leave a little bit of space between it, but also kind of give it just a little tap and tuck all those little extra edges in when you go to pop that in the oven. So if we throw these about 6 to 8 on a cookie sheet, depending on how big your sheet is, pardon my reach.
You're doing great, Lori.
Telling you what, I am
because they look at they're huge.
They do. They spread just a little bit, but not a lot. So you can kind of pop those on there, but get them aligned, and then, like I say, kind of tuck those little edges in if you have any loose pieces. And that way, when they come out, they'll still be nice and round and nice and even in the oven. And then, through the magic of television, we will swap.
And we bake them for how long? At what temperature?
The big ones for about 10 to 11 minutes at 350.
Okay.
The small ones about 8 to 9. So when you bring these out, they're going to have a nice lightly golden bottom.
Lovely.
And you'll see the edges are just a little bit brown, so you can see that when you go to check them in the oven. Don't leave them too long because they'll keep baking for just a little while on the cookie sheet.
Yes.
You want to remember when you pull that cookie sheet out, it's 350 degrees. You let it set, they're going to continue to bake for a little bit. Again, I always like to use those parchment liners, keep your cookie sheets a little bit neater, but it also helps distribute that heat a little bit as well. So
absolutely.
Once you bring them out, let them set for a few minutes, transfer them over to a grate or any kind of a cooling rack that you might have. And yeah, they're just they're
very moist.
Very moist.
Perfect.
Nice and thick. Perfect with a cup of coffee or a glass of milk after school.
Right?
But they go really well with the bake sales. So this is always a good one to tuck in your back pocket for that.
All right. Thank you, Lori. To find the good old-fashioned monster cookies, just head on over to our website at koamnewsnow.com. Lori, as always, thank you so much. You're the best. All right. We'll be right back with more news right after this.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. The time now is 7:27 a.m. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy. Sunday afternoon, a fire alarm caused the Olive Garden in Joplin to evacuate. Joplin Fire say that the fire began outside in the landscaping mulch, then traveled inside. The fire was quickly put out, but the restaurant was closed for a few hours for inspection by the health department and to patch the wall outside of the building. The Olive Garden reopened business as usual by dinner time. An emotional gathering in Kansas City, Missouri Saturday as dozens of people joined together for a rally against guns. Some in the crowd held up signs to ban assault weapons. The protest happened just days after gunfire erupted at a celebration honoring the Chiefs' winning of the Super Bowl. 43-year-old mother and DJ Lisa Lopez Galvin died. At least 23 other people were hurt during the shooting. During the rally, Kansas City Mayor Quentin Lucas called for change and told demonstrators, quote, "It doesn't have to be this way."
I'm just a guy who wants to make sure that I can drop my kid off at daycare without the fear of him being shot.
Right.
That we can play in a park without the fear of him being shot.
Right.
That we can go to a parade without the fear of him being shot.
Police have charged 2 juveniles in connection with the shooting and say there could be more arrests. The Main Street Axe Company in Joplin invited locals to bring a teammate and sharpen their knife throwing skills yesterday at their first ever Knife Duels Throwing League. For $65, those in attendance could enjoy lunch and some prizes. Before the Axe Company's edition of Knife Duels, they only offered axe duels.
It's fun. If anybody's actually played duels with axes, you know, it's a very fun game itself, minus the rest of the other disciplines. So we thought with knives, it's something new.
Yesterday's matches began at noon. And one Pittsburgh group is hoping to bring the community together through games. SideQuest is a local group that hopes to promote comics and games in a family-friendly environment. Yesterday, they hosted a free game day at the Pittsburgh Public Library. Attendees were invited to come together to play a variety of board or card games while meeting new people.
People should play board games because it is a great way to socialize, it's a great way to meet people, and it's a great way to play a game that you've never played before.
There were more than a dozen different games available to play. Organizers say they hope to continue holding similar events with even more participation. And around 35 schools from across the area traveled to Joplin High School Saturday to compete in the Joplin Kaminsky Bullseye Tournament. Over 350 archers, grade 3 through 12, competed in 6 rounds of competition. The tournament serves as a way for the youth athletes to challenge themselves.
Well, I enjoy seeing my son compete as always, and he also plays different sports. But it's nice to see a bunch of kids. The parking lot's full out there today, so it gives an opportunity for all types of kids to come in here and shoot and do an activity for their school. You don't have to be fast, you don't have to jump high, so it's a lot of fun.
Brackets for Saturday's tournament consisted of elementary, middle school, and high school archers. Area kids were able to learn how to wheel throw Saturday at the Spiva Center for the Arts. Children ages 8 to 14 created some of their own pieces as instructor Stephanie Roy shared some tips and different wheel throwing techniques. Attendees were able to work on their projects from 10 Saturday morning to noon.
I think starting them off, just experiencing things from a young age can really inspire them to do these things, because most of the kids in the area don't really have a chance to do stuff like this at home. So when they get the chance to come here and do it, and later on they find out, oh, I can do this, then it really makes that connection that they need.
Saturday's class cost $60 per student. And the Miami Public Library Saturday welcomed STREAM students from around the 4 states for a STEAM social. The purpose of the event was to have fun while learning new things. Saturday's activities included coding, building structures with Legos, creating foam bugs, and dice wars.
STEAM is really important for different areas of learning. Learning can be fun. You can learn in a whole bunch of different ways, and it doesn't have to be super boring. It can be fun experiments, fun games, and stuff like that.
Saturday's event was free and open to all ages.
And we've got ourselves a cold but otherwise decent start to our Monday across the area. MoDOT camera 32nd in range line looking pretty good. Got clear skies overhead looking back to the west and plentiful sunshine. But as you can see, clouds gradually beginning to work into the area on the Skywatch Storm Tracker. And further to our west, again, this is some light wintry precip now. But as temperatures warm and this gets closer, that'll translate into some rain for us. And we could see a few isolated to widely scattered showers across the area as we head into the afternoon. Not everybody will get rain, but some of us could get a few brief showers. Temperatures around the area, upper 20s, low 30s. Again, add 10 degrees to these temperatures in Oklahoma and into southwest Missouri. Otherwise, we're going to be pretty good. Southwest winds occasionally gusting to 20, clouds gradually increasing. Isolated to widely scattered showers this afternoon. By this evening, clouds begin to clear, as do the showers, of course, and highs today, mid-upper 50s. We'll have another full look at your forecast, including some additional rain chances here in just a few more minutes. Caitlin?
Thanks, Chris. Former President Trump campaigning this weekend in Pennsylvania and Michigan, going after the judge who found him liable in his New York civil fraud trial and ordering him to pay a staggering financial penalty. His only remaining rival in the GOP primary says his legal woes are a liability for the party heading into November. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera has more.
A slew of legal challenges hasn't made a dent in former President Trump's lead in the Republican race for the White House. They've only emboldened him. One of his latest targets, Judge Arthur Engoron, ordered Trump to pay roughly $355 million in his New York civil fraud trial. Trump railed against Engoron during a rally in Michigan Saturday.
Nothing like this has ever happened. This judge is a lunatic, and if you've ever watched him, and the Attorney General may be worse.
Trump is referring to New York Attorney General Letitia James, who brought this case against him. Engoron sided with James, ruling that Trump deceived banks and lenders for years, inflating his business assets to secure better loans. Trump's speech in Michigan comes about a week before the battleground state holds its presidential primary. His remaining opponent, former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, is urging Republican voters to turn the page on Trump, arguing that his legal woes are not only a political problem, but a financial liability as well.
You look at the fact that we saw in his campaign reports that he used $50 million of campaign contributions to pay for his personal court cases. Now, when you look at that, the part I worry about is the RNC is now going to be the piggy bank for Trump's legal fees. The RNC is almost broke already.
Trump is looking to make inroads with voters in Michigan, where President Biden is facing growing criticism among Arab American voters for his support of Israel in its war against Hamas. A Fox News poll shows Trump leading Biden 47% to 45% in this state, that 2-point edge well within the margin of error. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Amazon is the latest company to call for an overview of the Federal Labor Board. We'll have the details.
It's a beautiful morning, Scotty, and we have an early game to
come down to Shields Motors in Chanute today and take advantage of one of our great minivans we have right now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 7:37 now on this Monday morning. Quick look outside. This is our camera on the Cornell Complex, downtown Joplin. Clear skies out to the east. Beautiful start to the day, albeit a bit of a cold one. MoDOT camera, 32nd in range line. Clear skies from its perspective out to the west, but clouds are beginning to gradually roll into the area. And that's going to bring the opportunity, at least for some isolated to widely scattered showers. Now again, some weird computer anomalies this morning. This is not accurate. Ignore that 35 in Joplin. It's not going to be that much colder than everybody else. We do have the possibility of some showers as we head into the afternoon and into the late afternoon hours. Now, I want to remind you, the future track, because these are going to be isolated to widely scattered, is painting a picture of the best zone for those showers. So it's not going to be widespread rain necessarily, but in the green areas is where some of us could see a few of those showers. And again, by late afternoon and early evening, the clouds and the showers clear on out of here, leaving us with clear skies. Our camera 7th in range line got the sunshine out there, 31. So again, it is cold. 23 is what it feels like. That south breeze at about 9 miles an hour. And temperatures around the region, computer anomaly number 2. Miami Grove, J. Anderson, add about 10 degrees or so to these temperatures. We're into the upper 20s and low 30s across the area. And we're going to warm up as we go through today. In fact, it's going to be March-like weather for the next several days across the area. Clouds gradually increasing through the morning, 47 by 11 with partly cloudy skies, and the southwest winds could occasionally gust upwards of 20 miles an hour. We'll go partly cloudy, and some of us maybe even mostly cloudy for a bit as we head into the afternoon, mid-upper 50s, and again, those isolated to widely scattered showers will be possible out there. Through the evening, skies gradually clearing across the area, and eventually we'll make it back into the mid to upper 30s for our overnight lows. Then comes round 2 of shower and thunderstorm chances as we go into Wednesday. So this future track is painting the picture that we believe at this point is most accurate. It's going to be very late Wednesday or very early Thursday morning. We're going to see some isolated thunderstorms developing. So very early Thursday, we do have a window where we could see a strong storm or two. Now right now, small hail is the primary concern with these, but a strong storm or two possible very early Thursday morning. Then we see that kind of translate into widespread showers and maybe even a couple of other thunderstorms as we head through Thursday into the first half of the day. And then by the late afternoon and evening, those will begin to clear out. So we do have a very low end risk of a strong storm or two in this dark green area. And again, small hail, the primary concern with any of the stronger storms as we go late Wednesday into Thursday. So we'll keep an eye on that for you. Otherwise, again, March-like weather, temperatures into the 70s by next Monday and Tuesday. And a beautiful weekend out there into the 60s with some additional showers next Tuesday. Let's check your forecast. Back with more right after this. And coming up a little later, spring and summer travel are just around the corner and gas prices are already going up. We're going to have some tips that could help you save at the pump.
Feels good to be home. Ashley's President's Day Mattress Plus, save up to $800 on select adjustable mattress sets. Only at Ashley.
In Consumer Watch this morning, a major commerce company joined some other businesses in arguing an oversight federal agency shouldn't exist. Amazon says the National Labor Relations Board is an unconstitutional agency. Amazon's argument came as a legal filing in response to a worker complaint case overseen by the agency. Amazon says the NLRB's structure violates separation of powers, intrudes on executive powers, and denies fair trials. NLRB prosecutors have accused Amazon of unfairly retaliating against warehouse workers wanting to unionize. The company's position is similar to Elon Musk's SpaceX and Trader Joe's, who also faced worker retaliation complaint cases. Mental health experts have long been concerned about the usage of social media leading to shortened attention spans. Now there's a name for the phenomenon. It's called popcorn brain. It refers to a person's attention jumping quickly from one thing to the next. Psychologists say if you're feeling overwhelmed by the nonstop race of digital media and find it difficult to concentrate on one task or thought, you may have it. Research by the University of California at Irvine found the average on-screen attention span dropped from 2.5 minutes 20 years ago now to 47 seconds right now. Experts say that lack of focus can eventually harm social interactions, decrease emotional well-being, and ramp up anxiety. And many are expected to hit the road in a soft launch, if you will, for the spring and summer travel seasons ahead. But you might notice as you fill up your car that gas prices are higher than they were even a week ago. Gloria Pazmino is with us to explain why this is and why experts say you should never be paying retail price at the pump.
If you feel like you're paying more to fill up your cart lately, you're not imagining it. Gas prices have begun their annual seasonal increase as winter winds down.
We tend to see it right around Valentine's Day, President's Day. That's really when gas prices tend to start rising more noticeably.
Patrick DeHaan is head of petroleum analysis at Gas Buddy, and he says this is the time of year that Americans start to see that rise at the pump and feel a pinch in their wallets.
Refineries start doing maintenance to prepare for the summer driving season. That maintenance sees shutdowns, less gasoline being produced, and also a switch over to summer gasoline, which will start here in just a week or two across much of the country.
According to AAA, the national average for gas is $3.28 a gallon, up 11 cents in the last week alone. For now, DeHaan says that's well within the normal range of about 35 to 85 cents a gallon from winter to spring peak, which tops out around Memorial Day weekend. But refinery outages due to cold weather and electrical issues in the last several weeks could push prices up even higher. But here's some good news. There are lots of ways to save at the pump.
A lot of stations have loyalty programs out now that will give you a discount just for putting in your information. There can be credit cards with rebates and rewards for using their card at a pump. Even Gas Buddy has a Pay with Gas Buddy card that links to a checking account that can save you up to 25 cents a gallon. So if you combine all of those, really nobody should be paying what that retail price says.
In New York, I'm Gloria Pasmino.
And those are our top stories in Consumer Watch this morning. Now let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
At Aaron Sachs & Associates, our word is our
on Fox.
A unique exhibit at the American Folk Art Museum is adding long overdue context to 125 art objects that represent Black individuals from centuries ago. Scholars have painstakingly researched the museum pieces, combing through letters and journals to identify the unnamed figures in these works.
They then sketched out biographies as comprehensive as possible, allowing the Black subjects to tell a narrative from their perspective. Jared Hill has more on the story from New York.
Fascinating. I mean, you can barely see that he's there.
Yes. In the shadow of this portrait of a 17th century Boston merchant, a young Black boy he held as a slave.
The simultaneous proximity and distance in which Black householders were forced to live with their enslavers.
It's one of more than 100 pieces on view at the American Folk Art Museum in New York. The exhibition, titled Unnamed Figures, examines Black stories tucked away in art otherwise depicting everyday life in pre-Civil War New England, part of the country that's often overlooked in discussions of slavery.
Stories of folks that may have been pictured, their perspective, their experience, their history, their life story, never really part of the conversation.
Whether that's a Black woman in a coastal landscape or an enslaved Black child painted to look adoringly at their white captors, the curators of the exhibition say they hope it can reframe how we connect with art.
I'm really hoping people will come away with an understanding that it's important to look critically and that there is a story to tell beyond the immediate intention of a painting.
Even rare portraits like these of William and Nancy Lawson, a showcase of New England's burgeoning Black wealth, also a tale of ongoing struggle.
They were painted by someone that was sympathetic to the Black cause and to striving for human rights.
The exhibit transitions to photography, considered a new beginning for Black representation.
A fresh, new technology that really allows Black Americans to make their own decisions about self-representation.
Revealing the unseen.
Oh, there you are. There you are.
On their own terms. Jared Hill, CBS News, New York.
Unnamed Figures, Black Presence and Absence in the Early American North runs through mid-March in New York, then it goes on tour in New England. But the curators are urging people to take the idea of questioning art differently the next time they go to a museum or exhibit.
There's some of those things as they were showing that you may go to a museum, see these paintings and not have ever even noticed this before. So even some of the paintings we have at museums in the region might be worth re-examining.
Absolutely, Chris.
And something else that we are examining is today's forecast, where we do have the opportunity for a stray shower or two. Let's take a quick look outside. This is our camera one more time on top of the Cornell Complex, downtown Joplin. Right now, we've got those clear skies and a cold start to the day, but not bad otherwise. MoDOT camera, 32nd in range line, looking off to the west, still clear from this perspective, but we're going to see more clouds begin to roll in, as we can see them doing so now. Greenwood, Elk, and Chautauqua counties, and just outside of Washington County, there's those clouds on the Skywatch Storm Tracker. Back behind that, again, it's cold right now, so we're seeing wintry precipitation, but that will eventually switch over to some rain, and that will give at least some of us the opportunity for some isolated to widely scattered showers across the area. Upper 20s, low 30s as we get our morning started across the area. Winds could gust occasionally out of the southwest upwards of 20 miles an hour. Again, clouds gradually increasing through the morning. Those showers will be possible, say, between about 11 a.m., maybe noon, until about 6 p.m. when they'll start to roll on out of here with highs today, mid-upper 50s. We have some other rain chances this week. We're going to have a look at that and the news you need to know right after this.
It was part of the 8th Field Artillery Regiment. We are proud to salute Patrick Walden, a 4-state hero.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Sunday afternoon, a 5-alarm fire caused the Olive Garden in Joplin to evacuate. Joplin Fire say the fire began outside in the landscaping mulch, then traveled inside. The fire was quickly put out, but the restaurant was closed for a few hours for inspection by the health department and to patch the wall outside of the building. The Olive Garden reopened business as usual by dinner time. As part of Freeman's ongoing coverage of Heart Health Month, 2 Freeman cardiologist doctors, Vig-Yan Bang and Dr. Ryan Longnecker, and a Freeman patient, Dolores Field, gathered in the Hearts Library on Friday to share the unique story of Dolores' procedure. Dolores underwent a valve-in, valve transcatheter mitral valve replacement, the first time the procedure has ever been done in Joplin. Dr. Bang says there are a small number of hospitals in the U.S. who offer this specific procedure, and Freeman Health is now one of them. And one Pittsburgh group is hoping to bring the community together through games. SideQuest is a local group that hopes to promote comics and games in a family-friendly environment. Yesterday, they hosted a free game day at the Pittsburgh Public Library. Attendees were invited to come together to play a variety of card and board games while meeting new people. There were more than a dozen different games available to play. Organizers say they hope to continue holding similar events with even more participants.
And we've got ourselves a pretty pleasant day, partly cloudy skies. Some of us may be mostly cloudy, at least briefly. Isolated to widely scattered showers possible for some of us. Not everybody getting rain, but some of us may see a few showers out there. Mid-upper 50s. Skies will begin to clear as we head through the evening and into the overnight hours, and we'll fall back into the mid to upper 30s. And then it is practically March already as we head into the rest of the week. Watching that possibility for some thunderstorms late Wednesday into Thursday. Still warm, though. A beautiful weekend out there, into the 70s next Monday and Tuesday, with more rain chances by next Tuesday.
And the French Riviera city of Menton marked the Olympic year Saturday by showcasing lush citrus during a 2-week carnival-style festival assembled from lemons and oranges.
About 140 tons of citrus fruits and nearly 500,000 citruses are used to build and maintain the floats and historical scenes that line the Central Bayous Park. Organizers are expecting up to 200,000 visitors this year. The annual local production is between 100 and 120 tons, not enough to stage the Lemon Festival, so the citrus used to build the floats and sculptures came from Spain, and after sorting will be sold off when the festival ends. Lots of fun, lots of citrus.
All right, well, thank you so much for letting us put the good in your morning. We'll be back with more news and weather today at noon.